Hello friends and welcome to Spellbinders Florals Through the Year collection. I'll be sharing cards with florals from the first 3 months of the year: January Snowdrop, February Violet, and March Daffodil. Of course, all 12 months are represented in these beautiful silhouette images. I'll also be working with the 2025 DIY calendar. These are all press plates, so the images are crisp and clean. I began by creating my backgrounds for all 3 cards, using one of the more recent BetterPress of the Month's Designer Plaid. I love this press plate set. It comes with a registration template which I have placed over top of white cardstock so that I can see all of those lines clearly. I'm rolling up some low-tack tape which I'm placing on the back of some Pebbles BetterPress paper. First, I'm lining up the 2 horizontal press plates. I'm working with fresh dye inks. For the thin lines, I'm applying dewdrops. For the other 2 cards, I'll be using mint chalk and frosty pink. The rest of the plaid pattern for all 3 backgrounds will be done in 2 shades of gray. And I'm just repositioning that larger press plate, and I'm applying for the horizontal lines the darker of the 2 grays, called evening gray. After each ink application, I do use a baby wipe to take up anything that is on the registration template. Now for the vertical press plates. For the larger one, I'll be using the softer gray called Morning Frost, and I'll continue with the blue ink for the thin stripes. To get a smooth and consistent pressing, I first apply the ink by pouncing and twisting it slightly, and then I'll go in afterwards and take the ink pen and just run it up and down. It is very easy to see how the ink is sitting on your press plates, and you want it to look smooth. How it looks on the press plate is how it is going to transfer onto the paper. After I've taken up any ink that is sitting on the template, then I'll run it through my die cutter, and that will complete the background. And I made 2 more just like this with a variation of color on the thin stripes. 2025 DIY calendar comes with lots of press plates. It includes 12 title press plates for each month of the year, and also 1 press plate for the days of the week. And there are many variations of the calendar. So when I pressed these calendars, I referenced a calendar online so I would get my starting day for each month correct. As it turns out, for the months of February and March, the starting day for both months was on Sunday. So after I've pressed this one, I just had to change over the title. I'm pressing the calendars on dark gray cardstock with BetterPress black ink. And after they're pressed, I'll trim them down so that they can be mounted onto the card fronts. Continuing with the BetterPress black ink, the florals and their name were pressed onto the Pebbles BetterPress paper. They were cut with one of the dies from the Essential Stylish ovals, and I've just chosen one of the dies that is a couple of sizes smaller, and I'm going to use a silver jelly roll pen to trace around it. Although it was difficult to pick up in the photographs that I took, it does add a nice sparkly accent. Of course, underneath my working light, it is easy to see. It really is a pretty addition. As I approach the lettering at the bottom, I don't want to get any ink on that, so I stay back about 1/8 of an inch. The other 2 flowers are a little bit taller, and so I do the same thing as I work around the petals and leaves. I don't draw the line through them, I skip around it. Here's an example of what that looks like in the February card. I didn't spatter my backgrounds right away because what I find when I press with all of these plaid plates, that the paper can get a little bit wavy, and so I actually had them sitting under some weight for about a half an hour, and now I'm going to go ahead and spatter them with a fan brush using Distress Stain brushed pewter. The oval die that was used to cut the silhouette flowers was also used to cut black sheet foam, and I'll stack each one of those ovals so that they have some nice dimension on the card front. The calendars will also be adhered to black sheet foam so that they have the same dimension as the florals. And they'll need to be trimmed down. I'm just going to get all of the calendars adhered and set them aside to dry first. And in the meantime, I'm going to take my plaid backgrounds and adhere them to A2 size black card bases. You may have noticed that there's still a little bit of wave on that background, and so after it's adhered, I'm going to put it back under some weight. I'll be adding in some birthday sentiments right at the base of the stem that are from the Better Press of the Month for November. And then everything will be mounted onto the A2 size cards. With both elements laid out, I'll adhere the calendar first. With the calendar in place, it is easy to center the floral image. And of course, the vertical lines of the plaid are helpful to get it plumb. Pastel colored confetti will be used to embellish around the floral design. January and February, I chose colors to complement the stripes that are in the plaid. For the March card, I didn't have any soft green confetti, so instead I chose yellow to kind of go along with that daffodil theme. So here's the plan. When I decide who's going to receive these cards for their birthday month, I'm going to highlight the day of their birthday on the calendar with Nouveau Jewel drops. These drops are transparent and the day will show through. I have colors that will perfectly match the confetti, which is being finished off with Nouveau Crystal Drops Morning Dew. I could have just used the jewel drops to embellish around the flowers, but I like using the confetti for a couple of reasons. I like the flexibility of being able to move the embellishments around until they look balanced in my eye. And I love that when I add the drops on, I am confident that they're going to have a perfectly spherical shape. And that wraps up these cards featuring some beautiful new products from Spellbinders Florals through the year. I also want to mention that this collection comes with a really fun die set called DIY Easel. This would be a great display for lots of things, including the 12 months of the year. Who doesn't love a beautiful calendar as a gift? And with Christmas coming up, I'm just saying. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I appreciate your visit.